go there. Let me ask you a question. Can you tell me why individuals, families, societies, countries fail? Do they lack talent? Do they lack resources? Any other thing? Most certainly not. You know something? Regardless of whether it is a case of an individual, family, society or country, they fail for only one reason: mediocrity. Mediocrity is the other name of complacency. You know what it means? There's a strange kind of behavior in these people that they are too satisfied with what they have done in the past. Let me quote from Bowie, one of the greatest philosophers, and he has said, "Those who are satisfied with what they have done will never be famous for what they will do. They have lain down to die, and the grass is already growing over their head." The grass is already growing over their head. That's complacency. One of my great mentors with whom I worked, his name is Mr. Klaus Moeller. I'm pretty sure many of you have heard about it. He has been the chairman of the Europe's one of the most prominent training companies, and I've been a consultant to that company. And his name is Klaus Moeller, one of the greatest quality gurus. He used to ask a question in his seminars. Do you think change is necessary? All the participants would say, yes. Second question, when do you think the change is necessary? People will be silent. Some of them will say, when problems come. He used to smile and say, when the problem has come and you have started changing, you are rather late. Ambulance is already waiting there. You don't buy the raincoat after the rain comes. You've got to be ready ahead of time. So Klaus Moeller's greatest statement, which I remember all the time, he used to say, change is necessary before it is necessary. Because when it has actually become a necessity, you are late. These are the mediocre people who all the time have got a froggy head. You heard about frogs? There is a strange behavior of the frogs. Try this sometime. Introduce a living frog in a hot boiling water. The frog will jump out. The frog cannot manage a difficult situation. It will always jump out. But the same frog, put it in the normal temperature, it will swim and enjoy. Said, wow, life is beautiful. I'm enjoying my life. Now do one thing, get a Bunsen burner and start heating that container of water from the bottom. The heat will generate, the frog will feel uncomfortable, and it will say, okay, something good is going to happen. It's perhaps going to rain soon. But it is not going to jump out. It will adjust with that situation. You know what's going to happen next? Boiling frog. The boiled frog is a delicious food in the West. The frog will die. Likewise, there are many executives in companies, when the happy time is there, the business is growing, sales is growing, said, wow, we're going to have a tremendous time. They're going to enjoy with wonderful meetings, a lot of food, a lot of dinner. They will be very, very happy. But when the competition will come and the car will slightly start tilting below, will they go out and work? No. They will say, happy days are coming. Wait a little. Wait a little. Something good is going to happen. Man, go out and work. That's an indication of the rough days coming. But they will wait. Results? They all be boiled frogs. Many shutters have been down. Many companies have been closed because of this attitude. Many countries are suffering as a developing country because of the attitude of the people. If we have any bankruptcy, we do not have financial bankruptcy. We do not have talent bankruptcy. We do not have resource bankruptcy. We have only one bankruptcy, attitudinal bankruptcy. We have a bankruptcy of complacency. We have complacent people in this whole world. And this is dangerous. We must do something about it. And what is the solution? Mr. Klaus Moeller. Change is necessary before it is necessary. Someone told me complacency is a disease. Can you name some of the disease meningitis, pharyngitis, bronchitis. What is this? Inflammation in certain sectors of your body. Okay, that's what is itis. And quite often, in some society, in some people suffer from a complacency disease. And I call this disease complacentitis, like meningitis, encephalitis, bronchitis. Inflammation of complacency in your blood causes complacentitis. Do you have a treatment? No doctors have, but I can recommend one treatment to you. If you suffer from this disease called complacentitis, I recommend 2 capsules every day. Capsule number 1 is initiative. That is the solution. Exact opposite. Initiative. What is initiative? Do it right here and now, not tomorrow. Buy the raincoat right today. If you got to cross the bridge, don't wait. When you have to cross the bridge, build the bridge before you have to cross the bridge. So that is initiative, doing it right here and now. And the second one is commitment, not involvement, commitment. Sometime before I shared with you that hen and the pig story. I don't mind repeating it briefly. The hen and the pig met each other. They created the Breakfast Limited, the beautiful shop. They made a lot of money. But finally, when the profit came in, the hen got 10% because the pig kept 90%. Hen shouted, "You are doing injustice." Pig said, "No injustice. You only lay down eggs. Nobody gets 90% for laying eggs. And that's not your choice. You lay eggs because nature demands from you." But that's not the way those hams and those pokes and those sausages were created. I got to give my blood, my heart, my everything. Everything I had given. I was not involved. I was committed. So 2 attitudes are the solutions of the disease called complacentitis. One is initiative, another is commitment. And once we develop these 2 attitudes, what will happen? That mediocrity will start transforming. And the result, you will become magnificent. So we are talking about a transformation from small m to capital M, from mediocrity to magnificence. Haven't you seen some magnificent companies, some magnificent things in this world? How were they created? Perhaps mediocre people have not created that. There were some wonderful attitudes behind it. How many of you heard about the Brooklyn Bridge from Manhattan Island to Brooklyn? There was a beautiful bridge which is there. But how many of you know the story of how this bridge came into existence? It was way back in 1863 when some people thought about creating the bridge. Lot of experts were invited. Lot of expert bridge making companies and individuals and consultants were called upon. But they found it is impossible, so they gave up. But there was one man called Rebling, Mr. Rebling. He was a creative engineer. He stood there and he had some idea. He dreamed of a beautiful bridge. Now his son has just passed engineering. He and his son, he motivated his son to take up this project. And they gathered all their resources and jumped into creating the Brooklyn Bridge. Rebling was unfortunate. There was a very severe accident after they started the work, where Rebling died and his son was severely injured. And for long 3 months he struggled in the hospital. His son Washington came out as an immovable, crippled person. He couldn't talk, he couldn't move. Out of his whole body, there was only one part he could move, is one finger. But do you know what he did? For 14 long years, this young guy who couldn't move himself, who couldn't talk, he had only one finger moving. He used to hold the hand of his wife and create codes in her palm. and he used to write the instruction through the codes. This went on for long 13 years, and this beautiful Brooklyn Bridge stands as an example. Was it possible through mediocrity? This magnificence was created with another attitude, with initiative, with commitment. This beautiful thing came up and stood on the ground as an example. Likewise, there are very many stories. You heard about a guy called Beethoven, of course, one of the greatest musicians in the whole world. Do you know he created his Moonlight Sonata, the most beautiful music in the world, when he became deaf? He couldn't hear his own music and gifted one of the best musics in the whole world. You must have heard of Disney. His last days were terrible. He used to lie down and paint the picture on the ceiling and dream of the Disneyland, and used to instruct lying down the last part of his life. And the wonderful Disneyland came out. The magnificent people have got an attitude of magnificence. The first qualification they have, they refuse to become mediocres. They refuse to accept the condition. They refuse to be complacent. They challenge the situation. Those difficult moments, when they come, they don't wait. They just jump out. They jump out before those difficult moments come. Change is necessary before it is necessary. So you want to change your life? You want to change the future of your society, of your country, of your family? And are you waiting for the difficult moments to come? My dear friends, the time is now, right here and now. Initiative happens to be one of the best characters. It's an attitude of just jumping and getting it done right now, not waiting for it tomorrow. Right now, here and now. And that's not all. Winners never quit. These magnificent people are not quitters. They're real winners. They stay on the ground. Life's struggle don't always go to the stronger and the faster man. Sooner or later, the man who wins is the man who thinks they can. So these are the people who think that they can, and they have not learned how to give up. They stand by the time. They stand by themselves. They take things on the stride. Keep on driving. Keep on moving themselves under difficult situations, because they have a dream, and that beautiful dream is their inspiration. The dream invites them all the time to come out and stay on ground and keep on working. And these are the people who creates magnificence. I got something to share with you. My very favorite, Teddy Roosevelt, the President of the United States in 1901. This wonderful man was a real fighter. He had a different attitude. He was a strong man, and his principles of life has been non-compromising. And one of his quotes I always love reading. I want to read it out to you right now. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasm, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievements, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. What a powerful thing. What I spoke about initiative and commitment, Teddy Roosevelt has mentioned as enthusiasm. The word enthusiasm stands for initiative and commitment. Here are those really enthusiastic people who can change the world, who can create a new destiny. Magnificence is not about just doing the best. It is about doing the best and a little more. Quite often people ask me, what is this little more? You've already done the best, but let me tell you. In any activity, we play two kinds of roles. Two kinds of roles. One is an allocated role. Allocated role. We do the task which is allocated to us from outside. It is given. You got to do it because you are employed or because you are designated to do it, because you are hired to do that. And that part is called the allocated part. But there is another role we all play, and that is called perceived role. What is a perceived role? That's your own, nothing to do with the allocated one. It starts with the allocated one, but when you start doing that work, you put your own creativity there. You put your own originality there. You put a little more there. The little more is of your own. That's very personal. That's very original. That's very typical of you. You have not learnt it from anywhere. I want to give you an example. Suppose you are going for a meeting with the boss of a company, but you got a project to discuss with them. And in the winter morning, you just enter his office and there is a beautiful reception, and there's a charming receptionist lady sitting down there, and she smiles at you. While she smiles on her desk, you see a beautiful thing written at the back. Just at her back, there is a board where it is written, "Welcome, Mr. Ghosh. Mr. Banerjee is waiting for you." What happens when you see your own name there? Right at the back, you feel great. You want to do business with this company. You will be prepared to make certain concessions in your sternness, in your rigid policies, only because that person has made a difference. Was she trained to do it? Maybe, maybe not. Most probably not. It is our own wit. It is our own creativity. It's our own wisdom. In every work, there is a possibility of this little bit of creation, this little bit of creativity, this little bit of originality, and that is that little more. Magnificence is nothing but doing your best and a little more. And when you mix these two, you do your best and then do a little more, make it a little better. That is how magnificence comes in. So what can you make the change? The doing your best is absolutely fixed, because that is written, that is documented, that is demanded, that is prescribed. But if you want to improve and create more magnificence, then you got to change. You got to improve that particular part.